Hi there. My name is Dr. David Richard. I am Dean of the Hamilton Holt School and Chair of the Demonstration of Learning Team, or DLT. The purpose of the DLT is to help departments develop a sustainable model for continuous program enhancement and to prepare Rollins for the ever-important reaffirmation of accreditation from SACS. By continuous program enhancement, we mean an ongoing faculty practice of checking on a regular basis whether majors and programs result in desired student learning outcomes. This video is designed to get your department or program up to speed on some fundamental concepts regarding both accreditation and continuous program enhancement. Your DLT liaison is responsible for engaging your department or program in this important task and will work with the DLT to ensure your success. Okay, let's get started. It probably comes as no surprise that many faculty members are skeptical regarding the importance of or need to understand more about student learning outcomes. Too often, assessment is viewed as something we have to do, often because an external agency like an accrediting body demands it. As a result, many faculty members view assessment of student learning outcomes as burdensome and of marginal importance to the department. Now, fortunately, this view of assessment focuses almost entirely on the external forces that require evidence of student learning in order to grant accreditation. Although accreditation is important, it is only one part of the story. As a faculty, we should naturally be inquisitive about the effects of our teaching on students. And specifically, we should always ask whether our students are learning what we think they should learn, how we know that they are learning, and how we might improve the level of their learning through our pedagogy. It is fair to say that demonstration of student learning is necessary then for two reasons. First, and most importantly, it assists us as faculty members in developing a culture of inquiry regarding our practice as teachers and helps us understand how our students are learning and what seems to work the best programmatically. Second, and most obviously, it is required by regional and national accountability standards for institutional effectiveness. Think of it this way. Every day in the classroom, we ask our students to develop ideas or hypotheses and to elaborate on them. We challenge them to think analytically, evaluate data, engage other students in discussion and debate, and draw conclusions based on those interactions and efforts. The learning we encourage in the liberal arts and endorse as a faculty values and emphasizes intellectual development through the recursive testing of ideas and hypotheses. It should come as no surprise that we actually never get to a point with our students where we say, you know what, hey, you did it. You can stop thinking critically now. In a similar way, demonstration of student learning grows organically from our own questions regarding our practice with students. If teaching is the most important thing we do at Rollins, and if student learning and intellectual development are the primary outcomes of our teaching, then it follows that we also ask of ourselves the very thing we ask of our students, to be critical thinkers about what we do as professors and to modify our efforts as we receive feedback. Developing a keen inquisitiveness about how our students are learning, how we know that learning is occurring, and how we might help students to improve their learning in every department and program at Rollins is what a culture of inquiry is all about. Such a philosophy can help students and programs to improve or develop innovative, student-centered pedagogical methodologies, and will also help departments to clarify, modify, and strengthen instructional goals. Demonstration and assessment of learning outcomes, then, is a necessary part of a culture of inquiry. A culture of inquiry encourages departments to develop ways of knowing about student learning that are consistent, produce reliable demonstrations or indicators of student learning outcomes, and permit faculty to adapt and improve developmental efforts in response to assessment results. In a culture of inquiry, an understanding of student learning outcomes is valuable because of what it helps the department accomplish. Now, the AAC&U has developed a series of student learning outcomes. They're called LEAP outcomes that will be useful for your department or program. LEAP outcomes describe the various abilities, skills, and competencies we expect to see in graduates of liberal arts institutions. For example, one of the LEAP learning outcomes is inquiry and analysis. By the time students graduate, they should be able to identify and select topics that are relevant to good inquiry and analysis, be able to understand existing knowledge, research, views on a topic, craft a research design, engage in systematic analysis, draw conclusions, and understand the limitations and implications of both the method and the findings. Now, if this LEAP outcome is relevant to your department or program, then you might want to include it in your assessment plan. You don't have to, it's up to your department, of course. You might select a different LEAP outcome. You would then use a value rubric to assess student learning outcomes and identify the criteria for those outcomes. So a value rubric includes the criteria by which you would determine a student's progress on the LEAP student learning outcome. Now, at this point, I should stress that it may very well be the case that your department is already doing the kinds of things that would satisfy accreditation requirements for assessment. Now, in my home department, psychology, we require students to complete a standardized major field test. This would count as a valid form of assessment for accreditation purposes. I would strongly encourage you to look at what your department already does to see if existing assessment practices could be integrated into your department's assessment plan. Now, a critical part of this process involves how assessment results are used in the future. All departments or programs should meet annually to review assessment results. The purpose of these meetings will be to brainstorm ways of integrating results into the curriculum and to identify student learning outcomes that will be assessed for the coming year. In other words, the annual meeting represents the end of one assessment cycle and the start of another, so that each assessment cycle builds on the previous cycle, and the program is therefore enhanced from year to year. Now, I know that's a lot to absorb, but you'll be comforted to know that our goal on the DLT is to streamline the departmental level reporting process so that assessment planning and reporting can be done as painlessly as possible. A goal of each departmental liaison member should be to help departments understand what is meant by a culture of inquiry and how assessment is part of that culture. Many departments have already identified the value rubrics they will align with for their programmatic outcomes and are conducting appropriate assessments. However, many departments are not, and it is our goal to ensure that every department reaches a level of sophistication that will ensure both ongoing departmental self-examination and, of course, reaffirmation of accreditation.